On the third day of the blizzard apocalypse, my husband and his first love locked me outside. I froze to death. When I opened my eyes, I had been reborn before the blizzard apocalypse. This time, I joined forces with his first love. Payo pal, hurry up and sign it. We split all the assets 50-50. My parents died in an unexpected car accident. I inherited 200 million yuan. Before the funeral arrangements were even finished, my husband demanded a divorce. According to the law, if my parents left no will while they were alive, the inheritance could be treated as marital property and would have to be divided. I did not panic. I agreed to the divorce immediately and accepted every demand he made about dividing the assets. Right in front of Mao Bufan, I put my bank manager on speakerphone. Because the transfer amount was enormous, the procedures were complicated and required an appointment in advance. I tapped through the calendar and chose a date 8 days later, the anniversary of my marriage to Mao Bufan. When he saw the date I chose, a flicker of unease crossed Mao Bufan's face, but it quickly turned into suspicion. You'd really be this generous? That day would be terrifying. The third day after the blizzard apocalypse began, huge snowflakes would fill the sky, and the air would be so cold it was hard to breathe. In my previous life, it was on that very day that Mao Bufan and his first love, Liu Ryan, locked me outside. I was frozen so badly I could not take a single step. My limbs completely lost all feeling. I froze alive into an ice statue. What I never expected was to be reborn before my parents' car accident, and before the blizzard apocalypse arrived. This time, after having my parents make a will, I helped them fake their deaths and disappear. Whether the blizzard apocalypse came or not, Mao Bufan was destined not to get a single cent. After he left, I video called my dad. He answered almost instantly. My mother's worried face appeared on screen. How are things going over there? When can you come over? That's right. As soon as I was reborn, I told my parents everything. My dad inspected the car involved in the accident and discovered it really had been tampered with. After that, he believed every word I said. The funeral and aftermath were only a cover. I had personally sent my parents to a mountain villa I had bought in advance. Then I carefully made a list of everything we needed to prepare and had my parents purchase it. I walked onto the balcony with my phone. Everything's going smoothly. I'll buy a few more supplies and head over. How are things on your end? My mother switched to the rear camera and slowly showed me around the house. Only then did I realize the villa had completely changed. Besides the supplies I asked them to stockpile, the reinforced doors and windows and the heating equipment. My dad had also upgraded the home's electrical system, windproofing and drainage. He had worked as a designer, and from only a few details I gave him about the snow disaster, he drew up the plans himself and renovated the place thoroughly. At that moment, Dad had his sleeves rolled up, testing the floor heating. When Mum pointed the camera at him, he straightened up and looked over. Sweetheart, the floor heating is fully installed. When the blizzard comes, you could wear a t-shirt inside and still not feel cold. Anything else you want to eat? Make me a list. I'll go buy it this afternoon. My nose stung, and I almost burst into tears. Although I had been reborn for nearly half a month, it still did not feel completely real. In my previous life, my parents died so suddenly, before I could even recover from the grief. I was betrayed by the husband I trusted. Then the blizzard apocalypse arrived. I did not even survive 3 days. When I was reborn, my whole body still remembered that unbearable cold, as if the pain had shattered every bone in my body. Choking back tears, I said, I want Mom's clear broth noodles. On the other end of the call, my parents' eyes quietly turned red. After hanging up, I visited wholesale markets all over the city. I bought 500 bags of dehydrated vegetables, 300 large boxes of self-heating meals, 60 boxes of compressed biscuits and canned food, and case after case of beef jerky. Then I went to an outdoor supply store. I bought 30 heavy down jackets, sleeping bags, thermal blankets, solid fuel tablets, hand warmers, anything that could keep us warm went into the cart. Finally, I made a trip to the building materials market. Wide tape, plastic sheeting, toolboxes, flashlights, spare batteries. Everything was arranged to be delivered to the mountain villa in batches at night. After a full day of work, I returned home. Mal Bufon was sitting on the sofa with a dark expression. The moment he saw me, he stood up and demanded, "Where are my parents? The last time anyone saw them, they came here to see you." His question caught me off guard. Then I laughed angrily. "Your parents are missing, so you ask me. They came to drop off some cured meat. They left right after. You can prove they came here. But you can't prove they didn't leave." Mal Bufon suppressed his anger and checked the refrigerator. Then he came back. "They disappeared before your parents' car crash. Even if the bodies were cremated, I'll have the blood from the crash scene tested. I'll run a DNA comparison. If I find out you hurt my parents, you'll regret it." After making his threat, he slammed the door and left. The moment the door closed, my back was drenched in cold sweat. Mal Bufon really was a law student. His thinking was frighteningly sharp. The day my in-laws came to drop things off, they happened to run into a dealership employee delivering holiday gifts. He mentioned the new car my dad had bought 2 months earlier. My father-in-law immediately took a liking to it and praised the photos for a long time. Then they left. After everyone was gone, I discovered the spare key to that car was missing. Valuables had gone missing from our home before. A police investigation showed my in-laws were responsible. It had embarrassed both families. After that, I rented a safe deposit box for valuables. I never imagined they would even steal a car key. Especially the key to the car. That had been tampered with and had not yet been repaired. I tried calling to warn them, but neither of them answered. Then the report of the crash came in. Originally, I only planned to fake my parents' deaths and get them away. I never expected Mal Bufon's attempt to kill my parents, to accidentally kill his own instead. Wasn't that poetic justice? Mal Bufon was indeed cautious. That same night, I received messages from several DNA testing agencies. He had hired several of them at once, but all the resources he had came from me. Every agency he could contact had already been warned by me in advance. When we divided the property in the divorce, Mal Bufon took the luxury apartment we had lived in together. I spent 3 days moving out everything I could take and left him only 2 beds. In my previous life, I had accidentally caught him having an affair with another woman. The scene turned extremely ugly. After that, even the bed disgusted me. That was also when I learned the woman was Liu Ryan, the first love he claimed to have longed for 5 years. He had invented that whole story to make himself look like a devoted man and win my sympathy. After moving out, I drank coffee at the mountain villa and opened the security feed connected to my phone. On the monitor, Liu Ryan handed Mal Bufon a document. I froze the footage and zoomed in. It was indeed a DNA comparison report. On the 3rd day of the blizzard apocalypse, my husband and his first love locked me outside. I froze to death. When I opened my eyes, I had been reborn before the blizzard apocalypse. This time, I joined forces with his first love. There's no mistake. All 5 agencies returned exactly the same result. The blood at the crash scene really belonged to Pao Pao's parents. As Ryan spoke, she reached out and smoothed Mal Bufon's furrowed brow. "Afan, have you been working too hard lately? Maybe your parents simply went traveling and lost their phones. Just wait patiently another couple of days. Maybe they'll contact you themselves." Mal Bufon's expression gradually relaxed. He pulled her into his arms and kissed her passionately. After dying once and seeing this scene again, I no longer felt the slightest bit hurt. I only felt sick. In the end, I could not hold it in. I dropped my phone and ran to the bathroom, where I vomited violently. For once, I slept peacefully until morning. The snowfall stopped not long after it began. People all over the internet happily posted pictures of the snow, but a small number of people who sensed danger started urging everyone to stock up on supplies. They were buried under tens of thousands of mocking comments. I had planned to leave a comment too, but simply closed the page. My phone suddenly vibrated. The bank manager told me the process had been completed early, and that the transfer could be made at any time. Tomorrow would officially be the first day of the blizzard apocalypse. I forwarded the bank manager's message directly to Malbu phone and sent him a voice message. Tomorrow at 9 a.m. I'll wait 5 minutes at most. If you're not there, I'm leaving. Don't worry, I'll get there before you. I gave a cold laugh and exited the chat. Then I called my private attorney and tipped off the media about the matter. Early the next morning, my phone buzzing woke me up. The trending searches had exploded. Only daughter inherits 200 million yuan, then gets sued for divorce by husband was #1 on the trending list. The video showed Mao Bufan having a meltdown at the bank and smashing a reporter's camera. I sent a message to the media group chat. Sue my ex-husband for the damaged equipment. I'll cover the legal fees. That afternoon, another piece of news shot to the top and overtook the story about Mao Bufan and me. An accident occurred on a city subway line, injuring more than 100 people. The cause was the dangerously slippery tracks in the snow. An emergency brake was applied at too high a speed, causing the train to rear-end the one ahead. Just like in my previous life, this was the warning sign before the apocalypse. The blizzard apocalypse had truly arrived. Day 1 of the blizzard apocalypse, I curled up on the sofa watching dramas with my parents. Liu Ryan sent me a video. In it, she tricked Mao Bufan into taking off his coat and lured him outside by saying they were filming a short video. Then she slammed the door shut, deleted his fingerprint access, and by the time Mao Bufan realized what happened, it was too late. He pounded furiously on the door outside. At the same time, my phone kept vibrating non-stop. It was the residents' group chat I had not yet left. Liu Ryan had probably blocked Mao Bufan's contact information. Furious, he completely abandoned his usual gentlemanly manner and spammed the group chat with insults while tagging Liu Ryan. He even contacted property management to find a locksmith. Property management said they had placed the request, but no locksmith was willing to take the job. Just as expected, the snow grew heavier and the accumulation deeper. Blizzard warnings were being issued all across the country. Some faster reacting areas had already suspended work and school. Who would risk their life for a few hundred yuan? Liu Ryan sent me a voice message. I did exactly what you told me. I locked him outside. When are you transferring my money? Of course I would pay her. I had already investigated Liu Ryan thoroughly. She came from a poor family and would do almost anything for money. She had originally gotten together with Mao Bufan because he was a top student, and she wanted him to tutor her for graduate school entrance exams for free. As soon as her exam results came out and her prospects improved, she blocked him and dumped him, then went abroad with a rich second-generation heir. That was why, this time I went directly to Liu Ryan. I offered her a huge reward and turned her into the blade in my hand. The earlier surveillance footage and DNA reports had all been obtained with her help from the inside. Without another word, I transferred 2 million yuan to Liu Ryan. Boss, I'll work myself to the bone for you for the rest of my life. I opened the camera feed outside the apartment. The image came through immediately. Mao Bufan was already gone, but he had posted a message in the residents' group chat. Can any kind neighbor let me stay for one night? 20,000 yuan for the night. I'll transfer it right now. The group chat fell completely silent. Just like in my previous life. After that, we completely lost track of Mao Bufan. But earlier I had deliberately stocked an entire room of supplies in the apartment. Besides everyday necessities, I had vacuum-sealed plenty of fruits and vegetables. For one thing, they could support Liu Ryan. For another, if Mao Bufan was still alive, I did not believe he would give up on this place. The blizzard grew worse and worse. The first areas affected were the northwestern pastoral regions. Livestock farming suffered devastating damage. The grasslands were completely buried under snow. Without food, cattle and sheep were freezing and dying in waves. Newborn animals could not survive. The herders suffered enormous losses. Transportation in the city had completely collapsed. In some residential compounds, snow had already buried the first floor. Panic spread across the internet. But what I never expected was that the mountain villages looked completely different. half a month into the snow disaster, while cities were already suffering supply shortages, and violent robberies had begun. The uncle next door trudged through the snow to bring us 3 small winter melons and a small bag of potatoes. The villagers were used to storing food for winter. Every year, they stocked large amounts of cabbage, radishes, potatoes, sweet potatoes, and other foods that kept well, filling entire cellars. If one family ran out of food, every household contributed a little to help them through. What surprised me even more was that they also looked after outsiders like us. When my dad politely tried to refuse, the neighbor uncle simply pushed the vegetables through the gap by our door. He laughed heartily. "Take them. Your family came all this way to spend the new year in our village, and you happen to run into a snow disaster. In weather like this, there isn't much we can do to help, so we gathered a few vegetables for you. If you're ever short of anything, just tell me." His words warmed our hearts, but they also filled us with guilt. We had only come here to take refuge. Although beneath the house, we had enough food to feed 3 people for half a year, along with countless other supplies. If anyone discovered it, we would inevitably become a target. Forget sharing it like the villagers did. We did not even dare mention it. In the end, we could only silently remember their kindness and promise ourselves that if the village ever needed help, our family would step forward too. Late that very night, a gang of robbers came in from outside the village. On the 3rd day of the blizzard apocalypse, my husband and his first love locked me outside. I froze to death. When I opened my eyes, I had been reborn before the blizzard apocalypse. This time, I joined forces with his first love. Late that very night, a gang of robbers came in from outside the village. At first, they targeted our house, because before we renovated the villa, the previous owner had used it as a summer retreat. So, it was the nicest house in the village. But our doors and windows had all been reinforced. They could not get inside, so instead, they smashed the window of the neighbor who had brought us vegetables. I happened to be unable to sleep, and had climbed to the top floor attic to look outside with binoculars. I saw the whole thing happen. I hurried downstairs and quickly told Dad what was happening. Dad immediately called the village committee. Before long, the lights in house after house across the village came on. The men grabbed whatever tools and weapons they had, and, with their dogs, forced their way into the neighbor's house. Dad went out too, carrying an iron shovel. Mom and I watched from the attic. Several of the braver men went inside with large dogs. Not long after, they dragged out several young men with bruised and swollen faces. The village became quiet again. When Dad came back and explained what happened, I learned that our neighbor had reacted quickly. The moment he sensed something was wrong, he hid in the cellar with his wife and children. They suffered no losses at all. The intruders were from a neighboring village and had no family to rely on. They had simply run completely out of food and resorted to robbery out of desperation. The villagers did not pursue the matter further. When the men left, each was given a bag of food. In circumstances like these, there were no crops growing in the fields, and outside supplies could not be delivered. What the villagers did was already remarkably generous. Mum hesitated. Should we share some of our supplies too? I really feel guilty. Dad sighed. It would have been fine to share earlier, but if we bring all that food out now, how would we explain it? Let's wait for another opportunity. For now, that was all we could do. That night, I was sleeping soundly, when my phone suddenly began vibrating violently. Half asleep, I answered. "Pao, Mao Bufin isn't dead. He came back. He's here." I woke up instantly and sat straight up in bed. Mao Bufin. He brought several men and chopped the door open with axes. He's lost so much weight. There's a scar across his face too. He looks terrifying. Mao Bufin keeps coming after me. He won't let me go. The phone in my hand buzzed again. Liu Ryan had transferred more than 2.7 million yuan into my account. Her tearful voice continued in my ear. Pao, I just transferred all my savings to you. If I die, please give the money to my mother. I've made her worry about me my whole life. Consider this my way of repaying her." She was sobbing uncontrollably. For someone like Liu Ryan, who valued money above everything, to willingly give up all her savings meant she truly believed she was at the end of the road. I closed my eyes for a moment and said firmly, "Find a way to get here. Take the mountain road. I'll find a way to meet you. Mao Bufan is still chasing me. I'm afraid I'll lead him to you and put you in danger. If you're still alive, don't give up." My voice was cold and firm. I was no saint. I was not especially kind either. I simply did not want to owe her anything. In my previous life, when Mao Bufan locked me outside, I heard Liu Ryan scolding him through the door. "Mao Bufan, have some shame. This house belongs to Pao Pao in the first place. It's freezing outside. She isn't even wearing a coat. She freezes to death. You've taken everything from her already. Aren't you afraid karma will strike you down?" Mao Bufan then slapped her hard and told her to shut up. It was because of that moment that I knew Liu Ryan truly loved money. But perhaps she was not completely heartless. That was why, after I was reborn, I dared approach her and propose a deal. This time, I would consider the debt repaid. After ending the call, I pulled my drone out from under the bed and sent it into the air. After searching for a while, the drone finally spotted Mao Bufan and 3 other men. Mao Bufan was viciously beating Liu Ryan. I printed every photo the drone captured and had Dad take them to the village committee. Then I went out alone. Although the snow was heavy, the snow on the village roads had been continuously cleared by the villagers themselves, so they were still relatively passable. 20 minutes later, I appeared at the village entrance. The moment Mao Bufan saw me, he stopped beating Liu Ryan and charged toward me with a knife. "Pao Pao, you actually came to me yourself." But the moment he got close, I calmly raised the pepper spray in my hand and emptied it straight into his eyes. Mao Bufan screamed in agony. With a loud clang, the knife fell from his hand. While he was rubbing his burning eyes, I kicked hard into the back of his knee and twisted his arm behind him before handcuffing him. The other 3 men saw what was happening and started walking toward me. Then barking erupted behind me. 3 fierce, large black wolf dogs charged straight at them. The 3 men turned and ran in terror. One of them even wet his pants. When I saw Dad and the village committee members carrying shovels and farm tools as they chased the men, I finally turned my attention back to Mao Bufan. "Mao Bufan, haven't you always wanted to know where your parents went?" "I'll tell you now. The 2 burned bodies from that car crash were your parents." I could not be bothered to look at him any longer. I helped Liu Ryan back home. Food in the village was limited, so Mao Bufan and the other 3 were not imprisoned. Instead, the villagers beat them and threw them out of the village. Through the drone, I saw that at first they supported one another. When they were thirsty, they drank melted snow, but when they could no longer find food, the 2 injured men became burdens. The drone's range was limited. In the final footage, Mao Bufan and his companions fought violently over supplies. They beat each other savagely. In the end, Mao Bufan was knocked off a cliff. After watching the video from the sofa, Liu Ryan asked me, "Do you think Mao Bufan is really dead?" I shook my head. I don't know. Hopefully. I thought for a few seconds and turned to Liu Ryan. "What about you? What do you plan to do after the apocalypse ends?" Liu Ryan casually opened a bag of chips. "Pao Pao, can I work for you and make money with you? As long as you're willing to hire me, I can do anything you need. And after you saved my life, I promise I'll never betray you." I smiled but said nothing. After the blizzard apocalypse had lasted half a year, the village finally exhausted its supplies. Dad went to the village committee and sincerely apologized to them. Then he decided to donate all of our remaining supplies so we could face the hardship together. 3 months later, the sky finally cleared. Temperatures gradually began to rise. Only then did I dare believe the apocalypse was truly over. After a period of recovery, large-scale relief operations and repairs to public infrastructure began nationwide. I sent all the videos and photos I had recorded to the authorities. Everything Mao Bufen and his group had done was classified as an extremely serious criminal case. A nationwide manhunt was launched. They wanted him found, dead or alive. After Mao Bufen was knocked off the cliff, he somehow managed to climb back up. He survived by breaking into homes, killing people, and stealing supplies. That was how he stayed alive. After the blizzard ended and he became wanted, he hid in the mountains. Eventually, he was captured and received the punishment he deserved. After nearly 9 months, the blizzard apocalypse was officially declared over. My company resumed operations as well. On the first official day back at work, the door to my office swung open. Liu Ryan strode in casually. "Boss 2. Where's my desk? I get paid for my first day too, right?" He